Yo, what's good everybody? What's good YouTube? It's your boy Finesse. Welcome back to the channel, and today we got another Patrick CC video. Freaky ass podcaster warned. This what happened. Was warned. This what happened. That's Shannon Sharp. The person that probably warned him was Lil Yachty. I remember that. He told him to stop, but my fault. My fault. If you're new to the channel and haven't hit that sub button yet, make sure you hit the sub button, y'all. On the road to 1,300 subs. Let's get into it, man.
For violence,
let's get into it, bro.
He was warned by one of his podcast guests to stop pursuing girls that were 30 years younger than him.
You're trying to hang out with these young and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it.
Even Lil Yachty,
I remember that.
Shannon's mentality towards young women.
Y'all get to a certain age and you still like them young. You like You like the same age girls I like.
Okay, right.
When you get to a certain age,
I'm getting old, but my eyesight's still young.
Shannon,
you gotta chill.
6 years old, never shied away from letting everyone know that he was interested in women who were younger than his daughters.
Everybody always talk about date your age. Well, I want to date my wage.
To no surprise, Shannon's reckless behavior got him in some major legal
trouble. You gotta
trouble,
chill, bro.
He is now being sued for $50 million by a 19-year-old who claims that he R-worded.
She was 19? I thought she was like 23.
Does not look good. However, there are some suspicious details surrounding this case that have people wondering if it could be a setup. The lawyer that is representing the victim was the same one who took down Diddy, attempted to take down Jay-Z for crimes, as well as the fact that Shannon Sharp was just about to sign a deal that would secure him generational wealth. And somehow, these aren't even the craziest conspiracies, which has resulted in Shannon receiving a ton of support from fans, letting them know that they are on his side. Today we're going to clearly break down the entire story, the evidence Shannon provided to defend himself, as well as the possible conspiracies surrounding the case of Shannon Sharp versus OF model Gabriela Zuniga.
And she's 19, bro. That's crazy,
cover
bro.
Up bad behavior for decades, but at the same time, being famous also makes you a target. When you've got money and a platform, there's always going to be someone looking to take advantage of that. And while every situation should be looked into carefully, once the allegations start stacking up, it gets hard to tell if this is an obvious pattern of bad behavior.
I thought this been over. I haven't heard nobody talking about this in a minute, bro. No cap.
Countless media outlets resurfaced a 2010 restraining order that Shannon Sharp's ex-girlfriend filed when she accused him of R-wording her, then threatening her if she ever told anyone. Michelle Bundy Evans met Shannon Sharp while working as a TV sports reporter in 2002. We met in the press room at the Broncos in April of 2002, but we didn't start dating until we met at the Club Blue 67 in Denver. He started pursuing me heavily. I resisted for a while because I was a reporter and I didn't want to mix the two, but he's very charming. At that point, Shannon was near the end of his football career. He spent 14 seasons in the league, mostly with the Denver Broncos, where he helped deliver back-to-back Super Bowl wins in the late 90s. Then he got a third championship with the Baltimore Ravens in 2000. But Shannon's legacy did not stop on the field. He had something else that made him great, natural charisma, which made it easy for him to eventually transition into sports broadcasting. Michelle said that her and Shannon had a relatively open relationship and were constantly
blonde hair, now she got red.
Since they worked in the same industry. She says they dated for a decade until 2010 when it all came crashing down.
Dated for a decade.
Arose when Shannon told Michelle to separate from a man who later became her husband.
The argument was about the fact that he had removed one girl from his house and put another girl in his house and didn't tell me. He had asked me to break up with my husband at the time. We were just dating, so I was dating Shannon and my husband at the same time. I was like, wait a minute, you want me to be with just you, but you want to move somebody into your house and not even tell me? So that's what it stemmed from. He's a faithful person, so I wasn't going to be faithful to a non-faithful person. It just doesn't work that way. Not for me anyway. It was the biggest argument that we ever got in. He was controlling, he was domineering, he was manhandling me, and he wanted to have sex, and I told him no. I told him no, because you gave it to somebody else. I didn't only tell him no, I told him why. He wouldn't take no for an answer.
The reporter then asked Michelle a question that many victims get when they choose not to go to the police immediately.
Why didn't you file a police report when he raped you?
Because I was scared for my life. He said he would use it. Everybody he knows, and he knows lots of police officers.
Yeah.
So I didn't know But if I went down there, that would be one of the people that he knows.
Michelle claimed that Shannon continuously threatened her. He said he was going to destroy me, and he was going to kill me, and he told me he was watching me. In fear, Michelle filed a temporary restraining order against him, which forced him to step away from his role on CBS's NFL Today.
Wow.
Sports analyst and former NFL tight end Shannon Sharpe took a, quote, leave of absence after accusations surfaced that he
Look how old the quality is.
threatened to kill a woman. According to legal documents obtained by Sports by Brooks, Sharpe's accuser claimed that the renowned tight end, quote, forced her to have sex with him, threatens her life, and, quote, places her under surveillance and calls to say he is watching her.
After Sharpe took a leave of absence,
he's wildin', bro. He's wildin', bro.
A strange man showed up to her door and intimidated her, so she dropped the restraining order.
Wow.
Shannon returned to CBS after the restraining order was dismissed and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame a year later. It's important to consider that the information you just learned about this lawsuit was relatively unknown in 2010. It's much more common for controversies, allegations, and lawsuits to get swept under the rug because there weren't as many people online demanding justice and holding alleged perpetrators accountable. Shannon weathered the storm, stayed quiet, and it just kind of went away for 13 years until Michelle filed another lawsuit against Shannon in 2023 alleging defamation, libel, slander, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Evans claimed that Shannon has repeatedly referenced their legal disputes on television and other public platforms, which she says has caused significant harm to her reputation. However, I could not find anything that proves that Shannon has talked about her on television. Michelle's lawsuit in 2023 got even less attention.
But that's a mental thing, bro. He could have been throwing subs about another woman and she thinking it's about her.
Third attempt to get
He's not worried about you no more.
R-word that she claims occurred. And finally, after 15 years, Shannon's counsel has responded to Michelle. It should be of no surprise that when someone famous is in the news, all sorts of people crawl out of the woodwork to share their connection to that person in an attempt to profit from that alleged relationship. This is exactly what is happening to Shannon Sharpe, and the resurrection of the case involving Michelle Evans is a perfect example. Sadly, Miss Evans became obsessed with Shannon and decided to manufacture a claim against him. When she
he turned the tables on her. He turned the tables on her.
To find a lawyer to pursue her outrageous story, she filed a civil complaint on her own that is completely devoid of merit. The fact is that Shannon has had no contact with this person for many years, and it is our understanding that she is still on probation after serving 3 years in prison for trying to kill her husband, so that she could hopefully pursue a relationship with Shannon. As far as I can tell, Michelle is no longer pursuing Shannon legally, but media outlets are getting her side of this story today to either 1. Exploit the situation for profit, or 2. Report on a potential victim whose story was swept under the rug for 15 years. There was also another assault allegation brought up against Shannon that was allegedly kept quiet for many years. Ryan Glasspiegel of FrontOfficeSports.com put out a report that accused Shannon of choking a female production assistant in the workplace during his time
at work too.
Glasspiegel used 2 different sources in support of his accusations, saying that one source said Sharpe and Fox settled with the accuser for several $1,000s. No lawsuit was filed. However, a representative for Sharpe came forward and denied any prior altercation. There was no incident of choking involving Shannon on the FS1 set. On one occasion, he and a few colleagues were involved in some light physical interaction in a playful context. Fox Sports later chose to resolve the matter privately. Although they claimed it wasn't serious, it does seem there is some truth here, or else they would have outright denied nothing happened whatsoever. But this is common whenever a celebrity is under fire. Allegations arise from their past where all of a sudden anonymous sources start remembering bad behavior. And whether they are true or not, there is no doubt that Michelle's story and others are receiving attention because of the most recent lawsuit between Shannon Sharpe and Jane Doe, whose real name was later revealed to be Gabriella Zuniga, an OnlyFans model that filed a $50 million civil lawsuit against Sharpe, accusing him of assault and battery. Now, almost all of the information regarding this lawsuit was released to the public in the matter of like 48 hours, and all of it was extremely disorganized, out of context, and confusing, truthfully, for the betterment of both parties. So I'm going to do my best to puzzle piece this together in chronological order, because I believe dates are extremely important to consider here. According to her lawsuit, the two met in 2023 at a gym in Los Angeles. Gabriella claimed that Sharp had been watching her during workouts and eventually approached her. At the time, she said she was just 19 and didn't even know who he was, just that he was another older man paying a little too much attention at the gym. She said that after repeatedly asking, he convinced her to give him her phone number. Over the next few weeks, Shannon Sharp allegedly pursued Gabriella relentlessly. According to her, he kept approaching her at the gym and repeatedly calling and texting her, asking to meet up. She says he didn't take no for an answer, and eventually she agreed to see him outside the gym. But before they met in person, Shannon reportedly insisted she sign a non-disclosure agreement. Gabby found that off-putting and refused, even after he kept pushing. He eventually dropped it and invited her to his house.
He's not smart.
Shannon and his legal
she is smart. He is not smart. As soon as he said no, nigga thought with his dick. Man throw with his dick. That's what he did. He just throw with his dick just now.
Claims of how she felt
just throw with his dick.
In 2023. In March of 2023, which is just 2 months after they met, Gabby sent him a message with an image of a woman wearing bondage ropes with the words, "Tie me up like this and F me," to which Shannon replies, "If I knew how to, I would." She said, "It's okay. I have handcuffs. We can stick to those for now." They went
back. What the fuck? What?
Back and forth exchanging kinky messages when she referred back to the photo of the woman tied up and said, "I want to be in that position right now," to which he replied, "It's too late right now." This message was sent at 11 p.m. Shannon was likely...
So, he was relentlessly pursuing, and then as soon as, like from my understanding from this video, as soon as he said, "Nah, we don't need it," then she started texting him, and like that.
Tired
like,
and
that's
getting
crazy.
ready to go to sleep, but it seems like the 19-year-old Gabby was in the mood. Ironically, this is exactly what Monique said would happen to Shannon.
When they want you to go for the 4th round, you looking at her like, "Listen, I need you want some money to go to Star because I can't go no further." But if you get your older girl, when you get to that 4th round, she's gonna say, "Hold on, let me go get you some eggs and cheese and some toast with apple butter."
And I know that's supposed to be funny, but that's actually prophetic. It's wild. Another text message from late 2023 was released where Gabby wrote, "I want you to put a dog collar around my neck and choke me with it while you're effing me." The two also talked about Gabby's desire to have a baby with Shannon, including her allegedly writing, "Only if you put that baby gravy in me, then you can do whatever you want to me. And I literally ate so much food, I look like I'm pregnant with your big black baby." Sharp responded, "If I still F with you around my birthday in 24, you can IUD out." Essentially saying if they are still together in 7 months from when this message was sent, then she could stop taking her birth control and they will have a child together. To which she replied, "LOL, you're stuck with me for life. You're not going anywhere, babe." Reminder that...
Talking about she don't know, like she probably know of him now. Probably had a lot of shit, but that's crazy.
Gabby claims in her lawsuit that around this time, their relationship was rocky and on and off. She says everything was always on his terms when they saw...
I mean, he's a busy guy.
...saw each other, how often, and what their relationship looked like. At first...
Like, not to be on no disrespectful shit, she's 19. Compared to him, he's like 50-something with millions of dollars. Got multiple things going on, like this podcast, he's on First Take, all that extra stuff going on. So of course things is going to be on his term. You don't got bread. You don't got bread. What are you like? You don't got bread, bro. So of course it's going to be on his terms, his schedule. You don't got bread. You don't do nothing.
He could be sweet.
You don't do nothing for him.
But over time, she says his behavior changed. He became more dishonest and emotionally volatile. However, Shannon's evidence shows that they were both constantly sharing freaky messages.
Then she says, "I want to put my tongue in your asshole, then marry you." She was using her tongue like a bidet.
Yeah.
She was a serial booty eater, a fecal matter muncher.
Gabby said she wanted some, quote, hardcore BDSM action. Shannon replied, matching her energy.
And Shannon says, "That's chocolate daddy's. That's chocolate daddy's
Like, why is she, like, she's mad kinky, bro.
I'm the only one f***ing that and getting his ass ate. We all knew, come on, we all knew Shannon was into...
Gabby continuously brought up the idea of having a child, writing texts that said, "I can't wait to have a black baby." Shannon replied, "I want a F. If I was 38, I would definitely impregnate you." As she continued to press the conversation about having a baby, Shannon said, "Gabby, you and I both know you don't want a baby." She replied, "You're the one that has a breeding kink, and I mean, I only want a baby if it's from you. I think I'd be a good mom." She continued, "I've always wanted a black baby. I want you to put a big black baby inside me." There are droves more text messages released where Gabby brought up the fact that she wanted a baby. Some people interpret this as nothing more than kinky talk. Some think it is a weird fetish or entrapment trying to be set for life off of Shannon's money, and others see this as a young girl who actually desperately wants to have a child with a man who simply wants sex. This is where Gabby claims in her lawsuit that a shift happened in their relationship. He lied about other women but still insisted they were exclusive. She claims he manipulated her, flipping between charm and aggression to get what he wanted. Around summer of 2024, Gabby claims there was a violent, aggressive, and controlling nature Shannon had that she could not escape. She describes multiple instances where he had his way with her without her explicit consent, then controlling her life, demanding where she needed to be and when. He accused her of disrespecting him, wasting his time, and warned that if she wanted to be with the Shannon Sharpe, she would have to learn obedience. Over the next year, plaintiffs saw Sharpe at his house.
I mean, you gotta play your role. You're doing too much, you gotta play your role. That's basically what he's trying to say.
Often as 4 times a week, Sharpe continued to treat her like an object. He continued to control her, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. Gabby started sending her friends her location for her safety, and when Shannon noticed, he allegedly grabbed her by the neck and told her, "If you ever do that again, I will effing kill you." However, text messages revealed...
Does she have proof? Does she have proof? Because you could see in her messages if you actually send the location.
That correspond to this timeline.
Does the location like stay on or just there for a couple hours or something? I know it's timed and stuff like that, so I don't know.
Gabby allegedly saying, "I want to be abused, daddy," and also sent another BDSM photo and said, "I want you to tie me up like this and abuse me, daddy." Shannon moved to Las Vegas. Gabby also decided to move to Las Vegas, which some people thought was strange if she claimed that she was afraid of him, but then moved to the exact same city. She says this is when the abuse got much worse, specifically around
the abuse. So you was being abused and you went over there.
Time that Shannon accidentally went live on Instagram during a sexual encounter with a different woman. In September of 2024, Shannon Sharpe accidentally broadcasted an intimate moment with a woman. Thousands of viewers tuned in to an unexpected Instagram live that featured audio of Shannon having intercourse with an unidentified
Don't play that
woman.
shit in my ear.
The screen indicates that the phone was just kind of resting on a table or on the bed, but the audio of Shannon breathing heavily and dirty talking was enough to tell what was going on. Also, what made this a little confusing was he mentioned the woman's name in this IG live. He said Michelle, but it was not the same Michelle that filed the restraining order in 2010. The moment was extremely viral, with most people just making fun of Uncle Shannon, and at first, Sharpe tried to claim his account had been hacked. However, he called ESPN to tell them the truth. "My phone wasn't hacked, it wasn't a prank, it was me being a healthy, active male." He later came clean on the Nightcap podcast, admitting the whole thing was an honest mistake.
"I'm extremely embarrassed that a very, very private, intimate situation, the audio couldn't be heard. And I'm extremely disappointed in myself. 2 minutes, 5 minutes before I came on.
Please don't copyright me. Please don't do it.
So I'm all
please.
Yeah, bro, what's up?
Please.
The first thing out of his mouth, guess what he said, Ocho?
Wow.
"You ain't gay today."
However, based on text messages that Shannon revealed, Gabby was extremely upset with the situation. "When I'm 152 pounds but you can't touch me because you cheated on me on Instagram Live. I'm gonna be 180 soon and you're still not gonna be able to touch me. I bet you regret your actions right about now." These text messages make it seem like Gabby thought they were exclusively in a relationship. Shannon did not give a formal reply in texts. Gabby then said, when you give me a formal apology for cheating on me on Instagram Live and multiple other times, then we can talk. She writes, formal apology, in all caps. Shannon replies, I've said sorry, Gabby. However, this is where things start to look really bad for Shannon. In her lawsuit on October 6, 2024, she says he confronted her at a gym in Nevada, visibly angry, and threatened her. Sit the F down or I'm going to you, he reportedly said. When she tried to walk away, he told her she didn't have a choice. She told him clearly that she didn't want to speak, didn't want to be alone with him, and didn't want him coming to her home. Despite that, she says he forced her into his car and brought her back to...
Is there any cameras? It's gotta be some cameras, bro. There's gotta be some cameras, bro. Got to. There's gotta be some cameras, bro.
Her apartment.
Ain't no way you got her dragged out the gym, threw her into the car, and drove off, and we didn't see a single camera, none of that.
Inside,
There's
he allegedly ignored her attempts to keep the conversation in the living room. He insisted on going to the bedroom. She said no, but he wouldn't listen. That's where she says he SA'd her, ignoring her tears and pleas. At one point, he reportedly said, "You've disrespected me so much, I'm going to punish this a-hole. I'm going to make it so no man will want you again." She says he R-worded her while she sobbed, and during the assault, he told her the experience gave him chills. Now, the next text messages Shannon released weren't until December 26th, almost 3 months after this alleged assault. We don't know how much or if any communication was had in between them. Gabby says, "I'm not answering your calls until you say sorry, Shannon." She says, "All you say is I'm sorry, but you never say what you are sorry for. How are you gonna make it right?" She continues, "So I would appreciate if you could do that, cause you really hurt me." She continuously makes it clear that she wants an apology, to which Shannon replies, "Gabby, I'm not going through this again. Stop playing childish games." Now, we don't know if Gabby was...
I ain't gonna lie, at that point, I would have just blocked her. I wouldn't even text back. Because y'all going through a whole cycle over and over again.
Happened, or something else, because this was 3 months later. But then things
3 months
get
later.
even more strange when New Year's of 2025 comes around. Shannon texted her and said, "Happy New Year, Gabby. Can't wait to see what 2025 has in store for us." Gabby replies, "Give me $50,000 and I will let you come over to the house."
What?
And then sends him her PayPal link. He said, "I don't have Cash Apps." She said, "Then what do you have?" And he says, "I have 10K cash." Gabby replies, "Send me a picture or FaceTime me with it." It seems like Shannon did not oblige to her orders, so she texted again. "What's taking so long? You either have the cash to show me right now, or you're with Michelle. Which one is it, Shannon?" She sends another message with a picture of her naked. "I know you miss this big, juicy 25K for each cheek."
That she ups the price like I didn't just say I had 10K.
We do not know if Shannon paid the money, but they did see each other within 24 hours of this message. In her lawsuit, on January 2nd, 2025, Shannon told her he wanted to see her and remind her about a promised Christmas and birthday gift. Eventually, she agreed to let him visit her apartment, but once he arrived, things quickly turned. He began undressing and she asked him to wear a condom, hoping
she didn't want the kid no more.
Happening. According to
she didn't want the kid no more. She probably doing OnlyFans at this time, and her shit is going crazy. She didn't want no kid because it's gonna stop the bread.
Her, Shannon refused. The more she begged him to stop or use protection, the more aggressive he became. She says he forced himself on her again, ignoring her pleas the entire time. The last text messages that were released are from that January 2nd, 2025 night, which was the night of the alleged assault. Gabby said, "I cried when you left because I begged you to put a condom on and not to put it in my A, and you didn't listen. I don't care what our history is. No means no, Shannon. I don't know how to process this." In response to the lawsuit, Shannon...
Did he respond to that, though? Did he... Like, we didn't get no response to that, bro. Because that's crazy. That's actually crazy, Shannon.
Sharp publicly
That's actually crazy.
all allegations through a
That's
statement
crazy.
released by his attorney. Mr. Sharp categorically denies all allegations of coercion or misconduct. The statement read, his lawyer, Lanny J. Davis, went further, calling the lawsuit full of lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and claimed it would not hold up in court. Shannon's lawyer wrote, "These messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of graphics, communications initiated by the plaintiff. Davis said, "The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, language, and fantasy scenarios explicitly requested by the plaintiff." Shannon also
it's just the last one when she says no means no. That's gonna kill you, bro. That's gonna kill you.
All accusations, but instead of typing it himself, it seems like he screenshotted a text message that was sent to him, indicating that it was someone else who wrote the response. It seemed like no matter how Shannon responded, it didn't exactly make him look better. And although the text messages that he released do provide a little more context, they don't exactly make him look better either. It does seem that they had a consensual relationship before the initial October 6, 2024 assault, but the lawsuit mostly focuses on the fact that their dynamic changed after the IG Live leak in September of 2024, which Gabby deemed as Shannon cheating on her. Honestly, Shannon's text messages that he released kinda help her narrative, because what we have, according to the text messages that he released, are seemingly a consensual back and forth for about a year and a half, up until the IG Live leak, which is where everything changed. That's also pretty much what Gabby said in the lawsuit, and that October 6, 2024 date,
it all makes sense,
says there was a violent assault, is really where everything changed. And again, the texts also kind of prove that. After all, just because a relationship was previously consensual doesn't mean it always is. Now, we don't know if Shannon cherry-picked text messages that make her look worse than him, or if they would actually go months without texting, because we went through almost...
But you could say, though, that last text, the no means no joint, he didn't respond. So... you know what I'm saying?
All of the messages over the course of 2 years, which realistically were not that many texts, but we can only base our opinions on what was revealed. But knowing the dates of those text messages does kind of help, because if she claimed she feared for her life, then sent an erotic message after, that doesn't really make sense. For example, audio was released of her and Shannon's phone conversation, and without context or dates, it sounds horrible.
I don't know. Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at, and you're just gonna hang up on me, so I feel like...
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
You want to be a to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate.
Yeah, you're doing that, yeah.
If you say that one more time, I'm going to choke the shit out of you when I see you.
Well, I don't.
You know what?
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do.
You're coming to LA tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why you want to go out.
Don't worry about it, Gabby.
Well, okay.
Okay, what?
Well, I'm not really interested in getting choked, so I guess we're going.
Yeah. I might choke you in public. Big black guy chokes small white woman.
It's not a good look, Shannon.
Not a good look that you do what you did to me.
Dates are important.
What did he do?
Because if this was before summer of 2024, then some people believe this
is
just more dirty talk and role-playing now being taken out of context. Especially the way he says big black guy chokes small white woman. It just seems like an ironic or non-intimidating way to describe that situation. Then again, some look at this as her clearly expressing multiple times that she does not want this, which should have been a signal for him to stop. But where everything does get weird is her demanding money around New Year's of 2025. By this point, she claims to have been assaulted seemingly countless times, and is
still asking for bread, bro.
For intercourse. This is what makes people think that this is a shakedown, and of course has been a basis of Shannon's legal defense. Then again, Shannon's defense made a horrible decision in revealing
that was dumb.
Almost settled out of court
that was
before
dumb.
anyone knew about this situation.
That was dumb.
Sharp's lawyer revealed that he had offered Gabby at least $10 million
Why would you
to
do
settle
that?
things privately before the case became public. According to his attorney, Gabriella initially seemed open to the deal, but then, without warning, walked away from our offer. Davis said it was a big surprise to us when suddenly this case was filed without any advanced warning. Many people questioned why Shannon would even offer a settlement
if he didn't do nothing wrong.
He was innocent. Now, legally, settling a lawsuit does not mean a person is admitting guilt. In fact,
you just want it out
most
the way.
settlements include
Sometimes
language that explicitly states the parties are not admitting to any wrongdoing. For many, settling is a way to avoid the stress, time, and massive costs of going to trial. In high-profile cases like this one, it can also be a strategy to avoid media attention and protect reputations.
But I don't mean you innocent.
Sometimes settling just feels like the faster, cleaner option if they believe they did nothing wrong. But in the court of public opinion, people strongly felt that Shannon essentially admitted guilt when he offered her $10 million. Then again, others questioned why Gabby did not take the $10 million. This is the girl that
she demanded
$25K per cheek.
Yeah.
Surely $10 million would have been plenty of money, right?
It would have been good,
and
bro.
That's when conspiracies arose
it would have been
that
good.
potentially this is a much bigger attack on Shannon.
It would have been
Shannon
good,
was on the
bro.
verge of signing a new podcast contract worth over.
And that's when she wanted. That's what fucked him up. He wanted more bread.
$100 million. That kind of money would have made him one of the highest paid personalities in sports media. It felt like the next big step in his career. Additionally, Gabby's legal representation is led by Tony Busby, who filed a lawsuit on behalf of a woman accusing Diddy of assault, trafficking, and abuse. Additionally, in late 2024, Tony Busby filed a civil lawsuit on behalf of a woman identified as Jane Doe, accusing Jay-Z and Diddy of R-wording her at a 2000 MTV Video Music Awards after party when she was 13 years old.
Why was you there at 13?
Vehemently denied the allegations, labeling them a blackmail attempt. In February of 2025, the lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled. Subsequently, Jay-Z filed a defamation lawsuit against Jane Doe and Busby, alleging that the accusations were knowingly false and malicious, aimed at extorting him and causing significant harm to his reputation and business interests.
To my family, friends, supporters, and colleagues, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Busby, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Busby targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and play into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter
I remember this.
took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a deliberate setup, coordinated by Gabby, also known as Carly on OnlyFans.
Damn.
Gabby and Tony Busby want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Many fans believe that a man who was not guilty would demand for an entire tape of his to be released, especially if it made him look bad. Busby
show the whole shit then.
Sports that he and his client have zero plans right now to put the footage out to the media. The only reason you know about the existence of a video recording is that Mr. Sharp specifically referenced it in his bullshit statement. Shannon has remained adamant that his relationship with Gabriella was purely a BDSM one, where the two would meet up for rough about once a week and nothing more. Shortly after the case went public, Sharp announced his decision to temporarily leave ESPN. However, he still remains active, working on his personal podcast that he owns. Now
Facts. He's still putting in work. It's the same situation with the CBS joint, but
are going back and analyzing Shannon's
behavior
on his
shows, I'm gonna step down.
Claiming that him being so open about his
I said I'm gonna step down so y'all don't get hit with all this bullshit that's going on. And then when I'm good, bro,
proclivities, fetishes, and love for younger women on talk shows is an indication of guilt behind the scenes.
I broke with my girlfriend. This was years ago. This was probably about 25 years
ago.
Now
you tell a story, it's years ago. I'm thinking this might be recent.
No, that ain't recent. This ain't recent. No, that's 25 years ago. And my sister told my grandma, say, Granny, you know Shannon and such and such not going together. They not together no more. But you know what it is? You know what my grandma said?
What'd she say?
She wasn't doing her nightly duties.
Ooh. Wait a minute.
That was my granny say. That was my granny say.
Let me sit up. Let me get my notepad out. What What a nightly duty, so I can make sure
you know what nightly duties are. Everybody that watching this know what nightly duties are. No.
This one particular clip of Shannon losing control while discussing an OF model, seemingly out of nowhere, has been resurfaced.
You know who Sky Bree is, Ocho?
Sky Bree?
Sky Bree? Who that is, Coach? Hey, Sky. I mean, who is that? Who is that?
Nigga wildin', bro.
You know what I'm saying? She little something. She might be famous for vertical activity that she good at.
Shannon also once shut down his co-host's recommendation for a woman that's religious, has strong values, and has balance to his life, but instead he said, "I'm looking for a sinner."
I'm looking for a sinner. I'm looking for a sinner. I'm looking for a sinner. Send me Miss Nasty B. What her name was? What did you
Miss Nasty B?
Miss Nasty. Yeah. I'm looking for. I don't want nobody walking straight and narrow.
Oh, come on.
Nah, I want to listen.
No matter whose side you are on, I think we can all agree that at the end of the day, Shannon had no business as a 57-year-old.
Yeah, no business.
19 or
no business, but that's what happens when you got bread.
Actions that got him in this situation. Now, is he actually guilty of a crime? Well, now that you have the full context, you can make an informed decision on what you think.
My decision is low-key a shakedown, because if you did not like that shit, you had multiple chances to get away, but you never got away. He moved to Nevada while you was still in California. You moved to Nevada. Like, you said he threw you, you said he chased you down, threw you in the car when you was at the gym. Where's the cameras? There's gotta be cameras at the gym. Especially if you're going to, like, you're not going to no broke gym. You're not going to no broke gym, and you're probably not going to no private gym. Both of them got cameras. You still didn't see no camera work. So it's like, it's hard to believe. It's innocent until proven guilty for me, bro. But if you made it to the end of the video, thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to see y'all next video, man. Appreciate everybody that's made it to the end of the video. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I'm going to see y'all next video.